All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson on how, in this society that we're living in now, right, and under the rulership of Esau, people have got away with there being grey areas in everything. So regarding your gender, there can be grey areas that are made, right? Regarding judgment, there's grey areas that are made. Regarding justice, there's grey areas that are made. Regarding fairness, there's grey areas that are made. Regarding food, there's grey areas that are made. Regarding your diet, there's grey areas. Regarding every single thing, there's always a grey area. Like it could go this way, but then it could go that way, right? But when the Israelites get made to be in power, there ain't gonna be no more grey areas on anything. There's gonna just be, it's this way, and that's what it is, man. All right, and let me get some scriptures, man, because that's what this whole thing is about, man. The Lord, all right, it's about the scriptures, which is Yahweh Shai made flesh, all right. Yahweh Shai is the scriptures, man. Yahweh Shai is the word of the Lord. The word of the Lord was turned into a man, and that's John the 1st chapter and the 14th verse. The word was made flesh and dwelt among us. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse. In fact, let me quickly get that, just so that for those that might not know where that is, I can show where it is. This is John chapter 1 and verse 14. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. So Yahweh Shai is the scriptures. So for all these people that want to try and say that the laws are done away with and all these things, Yahweh Shai is that. Yahweh Shai literally is the perfect way of the Lord made flesh. And now he's gone through his perfectioning process, and he's on the right-hand side of Yahweh. Let me carry on. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So right now, Esau is ruling the world at the end of times, right? But once he gets taken round, the Israelites are going to be the thing that follows after that, right? The Israelites are going to be the next nation ruling after Esau's taken out of the way, all right? That's the nation that's going to be the next nation ruling. It's not going to be no Chinese, right? It's not going to be the Moabites. It's not going to be no Arabs. It's going to be the Israelites, the sons of God. This is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. All right? Let me read it again. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. All right? So, and the kingdom will not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. So it's going to destroy all the people that are ruling now. And it's going to stand forever. There ain't going to be no other nation that's ruling after that. And let's go and see what the scriptures say this kingdom's going to be doing. This is Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob. So it's obviously for the Israelites, right? It's obviously something that the Israelites are going to be receiving. To the house of the power of Jacob, and they were teachers of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. So there ain't going to be no gray areas, right? There ain't going to be no, I can see both ways, really. I can see it from both sides, really. That's what people say in this world now. Oh, I can see it from both ways. It depends. No, there ain't going to be no depends business going on, man. In that time, there ain't going to be no depends. Oh, I can see what you mean still, but I think it should be done this way. There ain't going to be none of that. There's going to be the Lord's way, and that's it. There's going to be what Yahweh said is supposed to happen, and that's it, man. There ain't going to be no, two men were doing this together. Let them do their thing as long as it don't come around by me. There ain't going to be none of that. There ain't going to be none of that, man. There ain't going to be no men wearing wigs talking about it's ma'am. There's not going to be none of that, man. There's not going to be no a man stole and then he gets one judgment, but another man stole and he gets something else. There's going to be equal. Whether you're great, poor, free or bond, there's going to be equal. The equal portion, the equal judgment, regardless of your stature in the world, man. Isaiah 2 and verse 4 again. And he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. So people are going to be getting rebuked, man. They're going to be getting told that the way that they thought things was is not the way. And if they got a problem with that, the rulership is going to be with a rod of iron anyway. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen. You know what, man? You know what? Let's get it. Let me see. Here we go. This is Psalm chapter 2. Let me highlight it for future reference, man. Acts chapter 2 and verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, at the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So not only are we going to be possessing people, we're going to be possessing the earth for our possession, the utmost parts. So all those snazzy parts that people can't dwell now, Israelites are going to have access open to them on certain places that right now people cannot go. The Israelites are going to have the access open for them to get to these places, man. The Israelites are going to have access to places that right now Esau don't have access to, man. Yahweh's going to open things up for us. Verse 8, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So it's not like these nations are going to be able to say and sit down with us and have a meeting. Like, oh, we kind of don't really like your laws being implemented in our land. We got a problem with that. No, it's going to be made known that Yahweh's way is the perfect way. Because everyone right now has already tried their way, man. And we've found it to be madness. Tekel. Their way's been weighed in a balance. And it's trash. When women are allowed to do all the things that they go and do, all they end up seeing that they're doing, right, is putting their whole batty crease online. Right? And despite all the equal rights, equal stuff that they're talking, all they do with it is madness. Right? When you let Esau have power, you see that all he does with it is madness and promotes more and more lewd, freak acts. Right? So we're going to see that that's not the way that it's supposed to go, man. That these people don't know judgment. They wouldn't know judgment if it smacked them in the face. And a lot of them are not going to know judgment and are not going to know fairness, even though they're being beat over the head with a rod of iron. It's going to take a couple of swings, man. It's going to take a couple of strokes. And really, continually, for the end of time, these Edomites are still going to start bucking up against these laws. And that's what we're going to be. That's what our job is going to be, man. We're going to be continually have work to do to make sure that these heathens don't make our earth, that's our possession, be trash. That's gonna be our job forever as Israelites, when we're gonna be alive on the earth forever, to manage the earth, man. We're gonna be the earth's managers. We're gonna be the universe's manager. Because once them other planets get opened up to the Israelites, we're gonna be managing those too, and making sure that Esau don't mess that up too. Because the scriptures say that this law is gonna be our law continually, whither thou go to possess it. So if we go to possess another planet, because Yahweh's opened up that for us, the law is going to be the same law that we did in Jerusalem, the same that we might do in England, the same law that we might do in Spain, Italy. That's going to be the same law that we're now doing on planet, you know what I mean? Planet, whatever it's going to be called, man. That's going to be the same thing that we're going to be doing over there. The same thing. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 2 and verse 34. In fact, no, that's not where I wanted to go, Salakia. I think I'm in the wrong chapter. Yeah, I'm in the wrong chapter, Salakia. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse, let me go straight to the point, man. 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 34. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in a balance. In fact, you know what? Let me jump up a bit. Verse 31. In fact, man, it's a lot. Let me go to verse 29. In fact, verse 28, man. All right, this is 2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 28. Are their deeds then any better? Man, it's a luck here. You know what? Let me go to verse 26. 2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 26. And in all things even did as Adam and all his generations had done, for they also had a wicked heart. And that's right, like right now, man. People still have a wicked heart now, man. The worst hearts, the worst minds are for right now. The people are thinking the worst way right now, man. People think way more wickedly than people did back in those times. Verse 26. And so thou gavest thy seed over into the hand of thine enemies, which Howard did back then, and is doing it now. We're in the hands of our enemies, man. Right? Verse 28. Are their deeds then any better that inhabit Babylon? And that was talking about ancient Babylon. But are their deeds any better now that are in America, Babylon the Great? No. Their deeds are not better than ours. These people are saying that the same laws that we sinned against and that we didn't follow, they're saying that them same laws are done away with. So you know they ain't following them. You only have to open your eyes and look to your left or to your right for 10 seconds on either side in whatever land you're scattered in this earth. And you can see clearly these people ain't following the laws, man. Clearly. Look up into the sky even too for 10 seconds and you'll be like, yep, this definitely ain't the kingdom. Definitely not. Verse 28. Are their deeds then any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? So are they better than us? Are they more righteous than us? Is that the reason why they're ruling over us? No, they're not. The reason why they're ruling over us is as a punishment because we're supposed to be ruling over them. But we didn't want to follow the laws that we're supposed to be ruling over people with. So therefore, Yahweh was like, okay then, have these curses. But when Yahweh removes the curse from us, he's going to put the curse on them. And when he removes the curse from us, he's going to put the blessing back upon us. And let's read what the first blessing is. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments which are commanded this day. Are we observing all of the Lord's commandments right now? No, we're not. Is there going to come a day where we do observe all the commandments? Yes, there is. When is that day? When we get put on, when we get put under the new covenant, man. Right? That's the day when we're going to be keeping all of those laws. And what's going to happen for us doing that? Well, let's read the end of this on end of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. Observe to do all his commandments which are commanded this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations on the earth. So we're going to be above every nation when we're keeping the laws. We're going to be above every nation, man. But the world right now ain't keeping Yahweh's laws. There's gray areas in this world right now. So people can commit adultery. People can be thieves. People can be every single alphabet letter scrambled up. People can be them scrambled alphabet people, you know, where they scramble up the alphabet and make it begin with L. You know, them ones. People can be them people, right? And it's all good. Like people make grey areas. Well, it's all love anyway, isn't it? No, it's not, man. That's hateful deeds. But in this world, you can just do that though. Because there's grey areas, man. People are allowed, sinning is made legal here. But in the kingdom, sinning is going to be illegal. And sinning's always been illegal in Yahweh's eyes. But men on earth have tried to legalize it. Trying to almost make ignorant the fact that you're going to receive judgment for it anyway by the true judge of the whole earth, which is not a man. Yahweh rules in the kingdom of men. Let me carry on reading this. This is 2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 31 again. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then better of Zion? So lucky, I went a bit too high. Verse 28 again. Are their deeds any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should have dominion over Zion, and their ways are not better? Verse 29. For when I came hither and had seen impurities without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 13th year, so that my heart failed me. And that's what Esdras was seeing, man. That's what eyes are was seeing, man. That's what he was seeing. He was seeing these sinners doing a whole bunch of madness, and he was questioning in his mind, well, if they're doing all the things that made us be in this position, why are they in a position above us? He couldn't understand it, man. But that's because the Israelites are the ones that's supposed to be in that position. And if Israelites are sinning, it's different than if anybody else is sinning, because we're the ones that have the covenants with God. We're the ones that had an agreement with God to not sin. Nobody else had an agreement with God to not sin. So people like to say we're all sinners and all of this. Well, that's fine. Let's run with that. Let's run with the fact that people say we're all sinners and that we all don't keep the laws. But we didn't all have a covenant with God, though, did we? We didn't all have a covenant with God. So when we sin, we get the curses. But if we keep the laws, we get the blessings. But when they sinning, that's just their natural default setting, man. Because they ever wasn't given a way by God and an agreement with God to follow the right way. So that's their default to sin. But we're not supposed to do that. And that's why Yahweh's going to make us have what he planned for us to have, which is the law. So that we can be a righteous nation above everybody else and in the sight of all the nations, like it says in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Then we carry on reading, starting from verse 29 now. For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in his 13th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou hast suffered them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers, and hast destroyed thy people, and hast preserved thine enemies, and hast not signified it. Because these people, right, even back then, they was getting away with sinning, and people are getting away with sinning now. It seems like it, right? But the scriptures also say that God is not mocked. For what a man soweth, that shall he also reap, and they're gonna receive it. Whether they receive it in this lifetime or whether they receive it in the next. But as we're coming into the last days, and we're in the last days right now, everyone's about to receive it, their judgments for the wicked that they've did, man. Everyone is going to receive it. Verse 30. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers, and hast destroyed thy people, and hast preserved thine enemies, and hast not signified it. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? And they're not better, because this society produces people that have grey areas for everything, man. Until something happens to them, then it's like, nah, I want justice. But whenever it's something that they're doing and that they're getting up to, then they want to be like, yeah, but he's young, he wouldn't do well in prison. Oh yeah, but she's a female. You know, they've always got an excuse. But then you notice that they never have an excuse for an Israelite man. They never use them same things for when an Israelite man does something, man. They never have nothing to say then. Verse 32. Or is there any people that know of thee beside Israel? Or what generation of soul believe thy covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. Because these people don't think about the name of the Lord, man. They didn't back then, and they don't now. They still so ignorant that they think that God's name, that the Most High's name is God. And you've got some people out there that are so ignorant to the scriptures that they think that a father and a son is exactly the same person. They think that Yahweh Shai is Yahweh. Or let me use it in the terms that they would say. They think that God and Jesus, as they would say, is the same person. But they've got different names for some reason. But the son doesn't know when the day of the Lord is, but the father does, yet they're the same person. These people are lunatics, man. And part of the reason why they're looned off is because they think that the law is done away with, and they've got grey areas and everything. But the laws of the Lord don't deal with no grey areas. The scriptures don't deal with no grey area. It's got judgments that are supposed to be acted out when somebody does something, man. Verse 35. Or when was it the day which dwell upon the earth, have not sinned in thy sight, because these other nations aren't following God, Yahweh's laws, right? So if you want to get technical with it, you can say they're sinners. You can say they're sinners, right? But that don't mean that Yahweh Shai came to die for them, though, because Yahweh Shai came to die for people that God had a covenant with. And God had a covenant with the Israelites. He never had no covenant with no dirty heathens, man. He had a covenant with the Israelites. And the scriptures are clear. He came to die for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He came to die for those that was in the Mount Sinai, you know? But these people don't want to believe that, and they don't want to accept that. But it don't matter what they accept. It matters what the scriptures say. For what, Romans chapter 3 and verse 3, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? So God believes that the Israelites are going to be the ones that he's going to give the covenant to. So are you going to tell God, nah, that ain't what it is going to be? He don't care what you think. Verse 4, God forbid, yea, let Yahweh be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Yahweh's going to be the one that's in charge of what's going to be anyway. So I can say whatever I want to say, and let's say I'm wrong. Well, okay, let's say if you say this guy is wrong, man, he's chatting smack, he don't know what he's talking. Okay, fair enough. Does that mean that God ain't going to be right? Does that mean that what's written in the scriptures ain't going to happen? No, it don't. What's written in the scriptures is going to be what's going to happen. And anyone that's got a problem with that, well, that's on you, man. But this world likes to deal with grey areas, and it's got people running around looking crazy as hell, man, thinking that they're righteous when they're wicked, man. You Christians out there are thinking that you know the Bible because you've been reading it for 30 years, but you don't even know it. You don't even know nothing, man. Like, how are you going to be doing something for 30 years or claiming that you've been doing something for 30 years and don't know what the Son of God's name means? You don't know what, you're always talking this Jesus talk, but if you get asked what does Jesus mean, you don't know. So what have you been doing for 30 years, man? What have you been doing? That's like a boxer. That's a journeyman, right? Talking about he's been boxing for 30 years, but he's been a journeyman. He never took it seriously. He never thought he was a world contender, really. He was just going through the motion, man, just doing it to get a paycheck. Running around the ring, holding in a clinch, you know? Not throwing any punches in the round, only going for defense. When his opponent comes in, he grabs him in the clinch, holds him for 20 seconds if he can get away with it. We're talking about, I used to box for 30 years. He wasn't taking it seriously, though. A normal guy off the street could knock your ass out, man. So what are you talking about? You used to box. You wasn't taking it seriously, though, was you? You wasn't learning all the techniques that you need to learn to be good at it. Just like what these Christians, they ain't learning the scriptures really, though. They're going based on what other people's opinions are versus what the scriptures say. If the scriptures say God hates like it does in Romans 9 and 13, then it means he hates. Romans chapter 9 and verse 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. You don't need no one to break that down to you. It's clear. He loves Jacob and he hates Esau, as it is written. Where's it written? Let's go. Let's go to it. Because these Christians, man, like if you believe what a Christian tells you, still now, you're being led astray big time, man. Big time. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 2. I have loved you, saith Yahweh, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh, yet I loved Jacob, verse 3. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and inherited waste for the dragons of the wilderness. And Yahweh's getting ready to do that for real, man. 100% for real. He's getting ready to lay all this world to waste, man, and all these wicked people out here. All these wicked people. God's going to judge them, man. Every single one of them. And they ain't going to be able to hide from none of the judgments that he's got planned, man. They're going to receive the whole thing. I can't hide from judgment. You can't hide from judgment. The Israelite can't hide from judgment. The Ishmaelite can't hide. The Edomite can't hide. Everyone's going to receive what they're supposed to receive, man. And all the grey areas, right, are going to be taken away, man. Let me read this. This is Micah chapter 4 and verse 1. It's pretty much saying exactly the same thing as what I've read in Isaiah, the second chapter. Micah chapter 4 and verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it, and many nations shall come and say, Come and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion, for the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem, and he shall judge among them people, and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So that's what's going to happen, man. The Israelites are going to get rid of all that grey area stuff that people like to get away with now. You know? Like every single thing where right now, people are questioning it. Like, oh, you can eat pork. You can eat pork if you season it the right way. Oh, you can eat this poisonous fish if you cook the poison out and remove that poisonous aspect out of it. You know? Oh, fried snails is a delicacy in my country. All of this stuff, that's going to be taken away, man. Here's your diet. Some of the things in a diet are optional, but there's like certain occasions where you're going to have to eat certain things. And if you got a problem with that, well, when you try and eat some of these things that are not part of the recommended diet, well, you've sinned and now you're going to die. And the way how that death comes is down to Yahweh ultimately. But the death's coming. And that's how Satan got Eve, man. He said, you will not surely die. So when she did what she wasn't supposed to do and didn't die straight away, she thought she weren't going to die. But she did die though. You know? She did die. Just because you don't die today, that don't mean you're going to die. Ain't going to die, does it? That don't mean you're not going to die just because the death didn't come straight away. And that's in the scriptures, man. Because sentence against the evil worked. Because sentence against the evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore, it's in the hearts of men to go astray. Roughly paraphrasing it, man. And there's way more things that I could say on this lesson, man. But I'm just gonna go to my favorite scripture, man. This is one of my favorite scriptures, man. Hebrews, the 8th chapter and the 10th verse. For this is the covenant that I'll make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I'll put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people, and they shall teach among the nation, and they shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. So the Israelites are getting ready to have the laws of God put within their mind, right? And they're going to be doing them perfectly, continually. But everybody else is going to have to go to the Israelites to learn the right way. And we're going to judge among the nations. So if an Ishmaelite and a Moabite have got a situation between each other and have got a discrepancy, right? An Israelite's going to step in, just like how Esau steps in right now and he does his madness. We're going to step in and give the proper judgment, though. Esau will step in right now and just give both countries guns and watch them blow each other up, you know? But we're going to get rid of the guns in the first place anyway, right? The swords are going to be beaten to plowshares and the spears into pruning hooks. So we're going to get rid of that and make sure that everything's done the right way, man. Because it's going to be God's way. That's going to be what judges the earth. And to finish, I said I was going to end it there. But now that I've just said that, let me go to Wisdom and Solomon, the 5th chapter. Because all these nations are eventually going to realize that the ways how they thought things were supposed to go are not wrong. Are not right, man. Are completely off. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labours. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, This was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools account his life madness, and his end to be without honour. How is he numbered among the children of God, and his lot among the saints? So they're going to realise that what they thought it was, and what they thought we were, was off. And they're going to be repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, because they're going to understand what's coming their way, man. They're going to be visioning in their mind. They're going to be having visions, man. They're going to be picturing what their life's going to be from beginning to end. And we're like, damn. Look at all the stuff we put them through. We're about to receive that. They're going to be thinking about all the thoughts that they had in their mind to do to us before they fell as a nation. They're going to be thinking, man, we planned on exterminating them, man, completely. We was planning on messing them up, man. Like Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus Epiphanes his mind was set on murking the Israelites off, man. Until he got made for his bowels to stink, man. And his inside were rotted out to the point where he didn't even like the own smell of himself, man. And that's how you know you stink. Whenever you can smell your own stench, that's when you know you stink, man. Because the saying is in the world, you can never really smell your own body odor. But when you can smell your own self, that's when you know you're stinking, man. So he got jacked up by the Lord. But carrying on. Verse 6. Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness have not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us, because they was dealing in grey areas, man. Their ways were wicked. Their ways was the ways of an evil person. Verse 7, we wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction, yea, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way, but as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. And they're going to know that all their ways that they were thinking was off in the spirit, man. And that all their ways was of a carnal nature and not spiritual. And all them ways that they once was able to enjoy freely, they ain't even going to be able to do that secretly anymore, man. Because we're going to be able to see what they was getting up to. I ain't trying to say that this is what's going to happen, but they might just end up being a hologram. They might just end up being a hologram over their head, letting us know the list of their sins, man. Adultery, theft, false witness. You know, we might just be able to look at them and see exactly what they got up to, man. We're going to be of a godly nature, man. Yahweh Shai used to be able to analyze people and see what they was getting up to. He was able to perceive people's thoughts. And the scriptures say that we're going to be made like unto him. We don't know what we shall be, but when we see him, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. We're going to be something special, man. We're going to be something special. And all the trinkets and the riches and the nice cars that these Edomites drive right now and all the flash that they got, that's just going to be taken away, man. All that niceties that they got and all that nice ass stuff, that's going to be taken away, man. It's going to be taken from them. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 7 again. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yea, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way. But as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. What have pride profited us? Or what good have our riches? So like, what good have riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post are hasted by. It's gone. It's going to be gone, man. Verse 10. And as a ship that passeth over the waves of the water, which when it is gone by, the trace thereof cannot be found, neither the path of the keel in the waves, gone. Verse 11. Or as when a bird have flown through the air, there is no token of her way to be found, but the light air being beaten with the stroke of her wings, and parted with the violent noise and motion of them, is passed through, and therein afterwards no sign where she went is to be found, gone. Verse 12. Or like as when a arrow is shot at a mark, it parteth the air, which immediately cometh together again, so that a man cannot know where it went through. And that's just the putting a nail in the coffin even more, man. Like this is basically saying all those ways that these people used to have are going to be so far gone, and giving like 3 different examples, man. 3 different examples. In fact, 4. Verse 9 gives an example. Verse 10 gives an example. Verse 11 gives an example. Verse 12 gives an example. All those ways are going to be gone, man, that these people used to enjoy. All the times when they was enjoying these grey areas and sinning against God's laws, the time's going to become where that's gone. And us as Israelites are going to get the benefit of having that way implanted in us, man. Because that's what Yahweh wants us to be. He wants us to be a symbol of his own eternity. So if, like, I've heard people say this, and it's true, man. I've heard brothers say this. We're going to be like mini Yahweh Shais, man. We're going to be like miniature versions, lesser versions of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. In that time, man. We're gonna be immortal, like how we're gonna be eternal, like how Yahweh is eternal, but we're never going to be on the same level because it took Yahweh and Yahweh tried to make us eternal. But Yahweh didn't need nobody to make him be eternal. And to think of that, you have a good, don't waste your time trying to understand that, man. Just be glad you're an Israelite, you know? Let me carry on in verse 13. Even so, we in like manner, as soon as we were born, began to draw to our end, and had no sign of virtue to show, but were consumed in our own wickedness, because they're going to know that the ways that they was living in life was wicked, man. When they was thinking it's okay for one man to sleep with another man's wife, they're going to understand that that was wicked, and that you're not supposed to do that. They're going to know. Whereas right now, people will say, oh, but she was feeling me though. Yeah, but what if I was showing my brethren? What if I'm showing my brethren, right, that his girl's a hoe? These are some of the excuses that people come up with, man. Nah, but it's all's fair in love and war. These are some of the sayings that people come up with in that time. These are some of the things that people say. But they're gonna know in this time that that's gonna be taken away, man. And I'm gonna end the lesson here now, because I think I've made the point, man. The kingdom to come is not gonna have any grey areas in justice and judgment. And maybe that's what I'll call this lesson, man. The kingdom to come is not gonna have any grey areas in judgment and justice, man. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Makar Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.